Hey everybody, welcome to Craft of the Yeti. Today I have re-edited a video from my old channel. I plan on mixing these in with some original builds over the next little bit. I have gone through and fixed some of the coloring as well as recorded a new voiceover. There are also some new good bits at the end. With that in mind, let's get to crafting. To make the dice tower, I'm using a Lay's Stacks container. My wife's family brought this over and we ate all the chips, and I thought, this would make a great dice tower. So, thanks Brady and family. After removing the label, we need to create the little bouncy bits the dice will hit on their way down through the tower. Does anyone know if these have an official name? If not, we're coining the term. Anyway, the bouncy bits are made out of a granola bar box. This one was purchased by my wife. I cut them into semicircles and then made sure they fit into the Stacks container. I cover the bouncy bits in Mod Podge for added durability. If I don't want the dice just sitting at the bottom of the container, I will need an angled base, so I made this out of XPS foam. I traced the container with Sharpie and then cut the bottom bouncy bit out with my hot wire table. I wasn't 100% sure this would work, so I inserted the bouncy bits and the foam bottom for a test run. Knowing I wasn't headed in the wrong direction, I hot glued the foam bouncy bit into place. That worked well enough to do the same on the rest of the bouncy bits. The excess bouncy bits were trimmed with a good pair of scissors. Now onto the dice tray. I sketched out what I thought was a good shape with Sharpie, using some dice for scale, and cut that out with my hot wire table. I wanted there to be a border of rocks, so again, sketching with Sharpie and cutting with the Proxxon. Then, gluing things together with hot glue. On to the details. I want the tower to look like it was made from stone, so I grabbed some dollar store foam core, peeled the paper, and cut rock shapes out of it. Stacking the foam core reduced the overall time by quite a bit, and once the rocks were all cut out, I tumbled them in my cocoa container. If I was smart, I would have primed the container gray now. I didn't. Take that how you will. Instead, I glued the stones on with tacky glue, a little at a time. The tray was looking boxy, so I attempted to fix that with my utility knife. Supports for the tower are going to be made of XPS foam, and that is cut to the correct size and then textured to look like wood with this sculpting tool. To measure the supports, I am once again using my very scientific method of this looks about right, and cutting them with my X-Acto blade. At about this point, I realized how bad the dice tray looked. I cut the tower off and added more depth to the tray. I then took the much larger tray to the Proxxon and gave the whole thing a more organic-ish shape. This might have been the most fun part of the entire build. I took the foam outside and made a bowl shape with a butane torch. And then back to the Proxxon for more shaping. I added some offcuts to make the edges look a little less boring. And then to fill the gaps between layers on the tray, I use this spackle. It starts pink and then turns white as it dries. While waiting for that to dry, I covered the tower with Mod Podge and black paint. The tray itself, I covered in a terrain paste, and I got this recipe from Boylai Hobby Time. It's plaster, Mod Podge, paint, and water. I wish I would have used this over the entire build, because it solidifies nicely and is very durable. Now, it's time to start building the walkway. I start with the larger supports, which will hold up the walkway. I use a toothpick to pre-drill holes and then attach them with hot glue. Here it is with the supports from the walkway all done, and as you can tell, I want this to look like it was just thrown together haphazardly. The planks for the walkway are next, and I made them using a very thin piece of foam and gave them the same wood texture before cutting the planks with my X-Acto blade. I did it this way because I wanted the planks to be wavy and have different widths. Once those were milled, I cut them to length and glued them on. All the rock was based in a pewter gray, and I added a variety of watered down paints to give the rock some life. I then hit everything with an antique white dry brush and added a black wash to the dice tray. The supports were painted with a medium brown color. I tried a couple of different approaches for the planks and liked the one on the left better. It's a light tannish brown color with a brown wash added. I dry brushed the supports with antique white in an attempt to age them. To get from one level to the next, I thought the best option would be to use some sketchy ladders. The ladders are made with toothpicks, and I glued them together with super glue, and then off camera I also added some string. Since these are already made of wood, I just used a speed paint to stain them. Now that those are done, I can glue them to the tower. There are 4 in total. The last thing I needed to do was the top. I took the lid from the stacks container and cut a semicircle to insert the dice, and then off camera I added some supports around and planks on top. Now, onto the good bits. Thanks a ton for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and subscribe for more.